couple of quick announcements. I want to minimize the amount of announcements so we can get right to the Bible study. Men's retreat, parish men's retreat, March 10th through 12th. There's a bulletin announcement for further details. It's up at Madre de la Rosa in Sierra Madre. I always get that mixed up. Women's retreat, the end of March 31st through April 1st. 2nd. Well, you want to know more information? Right here's where you come. Evelyn is the point person for the women's retreat. Contact her for additional information. As I've always mentioned before, do not let money be the reason why you don't do it. Both retreats are very solid. Passionist Fathers, very good retreats. It's a very nice way to kind of get away from it all without going too far away. You know what I'm saying? So I would recommend those retreats. I know that there are several events happening. There are some flyers over here about a healing mass on March 7th. That's a Thursday, or March 5th, whatever it says on there. Follow the flyer. Okay, Father Bob Guerin is going to be leading it. The Religious Ed Congress is this weekend. I know Daniel is going. Mayan, are you going? I saw you here. There you are.
Yes, Saturday and breakfast.
Oh, good. I know Bishop Barron is speaking. Also, Ted Shree will also be speaking. Again, very solid speakers. Something to go to as well. We have several brochures and rosaries over here, thanks to Tess, for the 2,000 Hail Marys. Seth has a quick announcement. He has, what is it, a bulletin flyer?
It's information. I'm going to hand them all out. Basically, the diocese has come at this pivotal time to kind of dispel the myths and the facts about refugees and about immigration. And I know it's a really troubling time, but the diocese wants to make very perfectly clear that the church teaching stands behind immigrants and behind refugees, and they stand with them as human dignity type people. And so I wanted to share this with you guys to make sure we all have the right information.
Good. Thank you very much.
Actually, can you help pass on this one?
Just pass it down. Yeah, just give them a thing and it'll disperse, trust me.
This is the second one, so we can pass this around as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for doing that, Steph. All right. I think that covers just about everything. I know Vic isn't here, but I know if he were, he's collecting money for his St. Peter Claver, I believe he's part of. So anyway, if you happen to see Vic, support his church and he's doing a raffle. So talk to him. He's not here tonight, but if you see him, he's not. All right. So, when we last left our heroes in the book of Revelation, and I almost forgot before we go on. How has everyone been doing reading the book of Revelation? Yes? No? Kind of?
This part is easy.
This part is, what makes it easy? What makes it easy?
Well, because you have the outline, and it's fine. Words of support.
Yes.
And so on.
Yes. It's pretty straightforward, yeah. You're welcome. As we went over last week, all of the letters to the churches follow this pattern. You'll see it's kind of boring that way. It's very straightforward, you know, in that respect. Whereas when we get to chapter 4 and 5, we shift from the concrete into the symbolic, because now we go into heaven. And everything in heaven is symbolic. It's more than what meets the eye. There's always a double meaning. That's where prophecy really starts to get difficult to understand. It's not straightforward. It's like poetry. You can't just get stuck with the images or the language. You can't concretize everything because you'll lose the depth that it's trying to reveal. Okay? So just know that. And we talked about this in the beginning, remember? When we're talking about prophecy in general, whether it's Old Testament or New, you can't just stop at one image. You can't just say this means this and that's all. There is always this level or this layering that comes with it. There is an immediate meaning for the people that first hear it. Otherwise, again, it's meaningless. Why say something if it doesn't have anything to do with us? It's only for the future. Well, that's nice for them, but what about us? You know? Now, there are some elements to it that will only pertain to that, but those are small parts. Small parts. For example, a good example of this is the 70 years. Remember when Jeremiah said, y'all are going into exile? Remember this when we studied Daniel? And Jeremiah said, you're going into exile for how long?
70 years.
70 years. So that means that when the exile begins, you can count 70 years and then it'll be over. So that's something that's concrete for the future. No, the other one. Thank you. That's something that's very specific too. Okay? But when you read other prophetic words like, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and you shall call his name Emmanuel, back in Isaiah 7. That had a meaning for them at that time. Okay? That had a specific understanding back then. It had an immediate meaning. It also had a future reference. Because Matthew takes a hold of this and says, this was fulfilled with Jesus. But it's not just Jesus. That's kind of like learning how to do math. You know, being a math teacher, I like to analogize with math. If you only go to the back of the book and see what the answer is to a particular equation, you've learned nothing about the process. You learn nothing about how to get to that end. You just know, oh, the answer's 4. How do you get there? I don't know. The answer's 4. Well, what have you learned? The answer's 4. You see what I mean? So if I say, to whom is this written? You know, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear. It's Jesus. Well, what did it? It's Jesus. Well, what did Isaiah think of? It's Jesus. Well, yes, but what did we do to get from there to Jesus? I don't know, it's just Jesus. You see? You see what I mean? So that means from the time Isaiah prophesied that until Jesus, it meant nothing. People were just like, oh, what is that? You know, oh, it's Jesus. Oh, well, we'll have to wait 700 years in order to get there. You see what I mean? If that's all it means, then we've lost something in the between time. And God isn't that way. God speaks to every generation through his prophets. Okay? So it had a meaning for Isaiah then in 700 BC. It had a meaning for everyone up until the time of Jesus when its fullest fulfillment happened. Now brace yourself. Does that verse have any bearing on us today now?
Yes.
Yes. What does it mean? It means, amongst other things, one thing that we can learn is that God keeps his word. We can trust him. That there's always more. There's a deeper significance. This is something that I've been learning in my prophets class that I'm kind of passing on. You always get kind of the after effects of what I'm learning. So you get a theology degree by extension. You get it for free. I have to pay for it. So take advantage of this little bunny trail, all right? the idea that prophecy has this multi-layered meaning to it is no better felt than in the book of Revelation. And what I've been trying to promote in our study is that it had a meaning for the people then. These churches to whom Jesus is writing to, speaking to, it had a significance to them. Do you understand that? Yes?
Yes.
And then after that, every subsequent generation could look at the same words and pull out a meaning from it. Does it have a future, ultimate fulfillment? Most likely, yes. But between then and now, it's got to speak to us here. I keep harping on this because I think that this is one of the things. Remember when I talked about that sensationalism about Book of Revelation? Everyone gets caught up again with wondering, what does this horn mean? What does this head mean? What does these crowns mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? You know, what's that? What we used to say in my theology classes at Biola, who's the Antichrist mother-in-law? It's like you're getting into all of this detail and you're wanting to sift out all of this significance out of these little things that you're missing the bigger picture. You're all worried about who the Antichrist's identity is. You're missing the fact that in every generation, since the book was written, and I would even argue before the book was written, God had been preparing everyone with antichrists. Little a. And in fact, the scriptures even mention that. So before you get all wrapped up into who's the Antichrist and when is he going to appear, pull back and realize that in every generation we live with antichrists. And the key is to learn how to discern good from evil. And I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, as the days get darker, as the days get shorter, as we wind closer and closer to that inevitable second coming, what's going to distinguish the church more than anything else are those people who know good from evil, who will not be deceived. And this isn't something for, the future. This is something now. You realize we live in an age of deception and lies. There are times that I really worry about the church. And then I have to step back and I go, you know what? Who's in control? God. Is he still on the throne?
Yes.
Does he know what he's doing?
Yes.
Then what is my response?
Jesus,
I trust in you.
Yes.
And I will do whatever I can to the best of my ability to be a candle, a light in that darkness. As the days get darker, I want to be that candle. I don't want to just complain about all of the bad catechism in the church. I want to provide some good ones. Amen?
Amen.
The same thing is for you, wherever you are in your station in life. If you think, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Well, do something about it to make it a little bit different. Oh, people won't listen to me. Well, you know what? What did we read in Matthew's Gospel? I remember, rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so men persecuted the prophets before you. This is the key element of Jesus' great sermon that we meditated on this evening when we started our class. You hear what I'm saying, my brothers and sisters? Yes. And lest you think, well, I'm just kind of going off on a tangent here, this is the message to the churches that Jesus is talking about. The commendation that he gave to the Ephesian church was that they knew and did not tolerate the practice of the Nicolaitans. Remember that? That's kind of where we ended up last week. So let's use this transition now before I bunny trail further into the book of Revelation chapter 2. When we last left our heroes, we were getting the message from the church of Ephesus. And last week I showed you a little clip about Ephesus. Does anyone remember what distinguished Ephesus in the ancient world? It was a very big metropolitan hub. The little film clip that we saw likened it to which city in the United States?
New York.
New York. It was the New York of the ancient world. Very wealthy. Cosmopolitan. What else?
Simple.
Very sinful. Why? Sinful how? Pagan worship. Worship of whom?
Diana.
Diana. What was in Ephesus?
The temple.
The Temple of Diana, one of the ancient wonders of the world. None of it remains but the foundation on one column. Remember? Remember that from the film clip? How big was it? Does anyone remember?
60 foot.